Good morning everybody, I hope you are having a lovely morning so far. It is that time of week, Saturday morning. I've decided to do a nice little wee bake. So today I am going to make these things called Cowboy Cookies. I have seen them popping up a little bit on my feed and I thought I'd have a go at making them. I've never made them before, so that is my disclaimer. So if they aren't 100% right, you know, you're along for the ride. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I have obviously got my trusty KitchenAid at the ready, as well as all my ingredients. First up, I have 226 grams of butter. I will leave a link in the description box below to the actual recipe that I have based this off or used, so you guys can give credit to her. So in goes the butter into our KitchenAid. It wants to go in there. And then we have 2 sugars as per usual for our cookies. We have white sugar, so we have 100 grams of white sugar, and then we have 200 grams of brown sugar. That's gonna give these cookies a lovely little like caramel chew to them and flavor, and then the white sugar is also going to make them extra chewy, so that's what you want. So we're going to beat this together until basically everything has kind of like come together. You kind of want, similar to how I normally do my cookies, you want the little chunks of butter to still be in there. You don't want it fully creamed. So we're going to mix this together now. Alright, so that is looking pretty good. It's pretty much come together, but you've still got the nice chunks of butter. There may be some bigger chunks of butter, but because we're still going to beat this together with more ingredients, they'll come together a bit nicer. And also, I didn't mention, but I started out with quite hard butter, and it's absolutely freezing in my house today. So I would recommend going for a bit of a softened butter, but not super soft, so like a mixture between hard and soft. Yes. Okay, next up we have our 2 eggs, so we're going to pop those straight into our bowl. Like so. And then we're going to, again, mix this together until it is all come together, nicely incorporated. It won't take long, just want a little bit of time, just to combine everything together, making sure that all of those little chunks of butter can kind of like mix through now. And that's looking pretty good to me. Okay. Alright, so now my eggs are in and they are pretty much incorporated. It's time to add our dry mixture. So for these cookies, I have some plain flour here, and I have 250 grams of plain flour that I'm going to add into my bowl, as well as a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and another teaspoon of baking soda. So that goes as well. And then we're going to mix this together until it is thoroughly mixed through, and then we can add in our little extras that make a cowboy cookie a cowboy cookie. Because I always wondered, well, what is the difference between a normal cookie and a cowboy cookie? Well, that is essentially coconut, pecans, cinnamon, and chocolate. I think that's right. And oats as well. So a right old little like breakfast cookie going on here. So anyway, we're going to mix this together until this is thoroughly incorporated, and then we can add in those extras. Okay, so now it is time to add our lovely inclusions. So as I said before, these sort of inclusions are what makes a cowboy cookie a cowboy cookie. So we have 212 grams of oats. We have 115 grams of pecans that I have very, very roughly chopped up. I'm going to add that into my cookie dough. I also have 115 grams of coconut that I'm going to add in, which is just the desiccated coconut. You can add coconut flakes if you want to, but I feel like the texture would be a little bit too, they'd be too big for the cookie and the mouth experience. And then we have 250 grams of chocolate. I'm using this bad boy here, which happens to be one of the best chocolates on the market. It's Whittaker's chocolate. So I'm just going to roughly chop my block up into little random cubes and then add that into the mixture. Now my chocolate is lovely and chopped up. It's finally time to add our chocolate into our KitchenAid. So we have everything now in our mixing bowl, and it is time to mix this all together. So there is quite a lot of dough. So if your KitchenAid, like mine, is quite full right now, just put it on a really low speed to just slowly mix it through. Don't whack it up high because everything will basically come out. So just start slow and then gradually build it up until everything is thoroughly incorporated. And you'll know when your cookie dough is done because the mixture itself will start to pull away from the sides. And I'd say that mine is pretty much done now. So as you can see, the mixture is starting to pull away from the sides. It's lovely and sticky dough, which is exactly what you want. So we're just going to remove our beater from this, get all of those lovely bits of cookie dough off of there. And the dough honestly smells so good. That coconut just really yummy. I'm excited to try these ones. Okay, so if I was to follow along the typical method as per the recipe that I'm following, then we would just pop these straight into the oven. However, classic Lauren style, she is not doing it like that. We are going to roll these into balls as per usual of our cookie dough way of doing it. We're going to roll them into balls and then we're going to freeze our balls, then bake them about 3 hours later. So we want our cookie balls to be lovely and firm so that they're lovely and gooey inside. So I'm going to do that now. Now, just a wise warning, the dough is quite sticky. So if you have any gloves, use some gloves. But I'm literally just going to grab my scales and I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do about 100 gram balls, which I'll show you what that looks like. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so just like that. That is essentially a 100 gram ball, and we're going to pop that into a little container here that I've got, and then we can pop them in the freezer for roughly around 3 hours. So I'm going to do that now with all my cookie dough. So my cookie balls are all lovely and rolled. I'm going to pop these into the freezer for a minimum of 3 hours, and we'll see you after they're frozen. Alright guys, our lovely cookie balls have come out of the freezer. They have been in the freezer for about 3 hours now. So we are ready to bake them. I have my oven preheating at 180 degrees Celsius. It is lovely and warm in there. I've also got my baking tray in there with some baking paper, so I'm going to grab that out now. Amazing. And obviously this is a very, very hot tray, so please be very careful. But you want to grab your little cookie balls and you want to place them evenly on your baking tray, spread apart. Don't want them too close together because they will spread. So I'm actually gonna go with 8 on this tray because this one's a bit bigger than my other trays. So I put 8 on, like so, and I'll show you that. So there's my 8 cookies ready to go in the oven. Then I'm gonna put them in the oven for, as always, 18 minutes, which allows them to be lovely and gooey inside. If you like your cookie to be a bit firmer and not so raw inside, then go for roughly around 20 minutes. But I will show you what I mean when I cook mine for 18. So we'll see you in a bit. Guys, they've come out of the oven. They are lovely and cool. And let's open up one. Honestly, these just feel, oh my god, yum. They're lovely. Let's focus this guy. They're lovely and moist. You can see all of that like gooey chocolate in there. And because we had the chunks of chocolate in there rather than chips, you've got like massive puddles of chocolate. And they smell so good. They're very like, they smell very crumbly, like what an apple crumble smells like because of the cinnamon. Yum. They're really yummy. It almost tastes like crumble. Like because of the coconut, because of the oats, it gives that sort of like resemblance to the crumble topping on an apple crumble. So it's so yummy. You gotta try these. So good. One thing I will mention though is I used walnuts instead of pecans because me being dippy me, I actually thought I had pecans, but I didn't. I had walnuts and I put walnuts in and then, yeah, whoops, hey ho. So I think it has altered the flavor a little bit. So I would recommend using pecans because that's what Cowboy Cookies do use. But either way, if you don't have pecans, you can use your walnuts and they still taste delicious. So yeah, yummy, so good. And you've got such a lovely like crunchy bottom and crunchy top, but still gooey on the inside because the oven was preheated prior and we put them in frozen, which is exactly what you want. Very good cookie. Anyway guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you have enjoyed this recipe. Please feel free to like, share and subscribe and share the recipe among your friends if you liked it. You can also tag me on Instagram at laurenphillick if you make it at home and take some cool photos. I'd love to see. Otherwise, I hope you all have a lovely weekend and we shall see you in our next video. Bye guys.